that has to do with Tucker Carlson and Fox News. This is insane. You'll recall I've been saying for some time that, in my opinion, the Republican Party has been trying to prevent people or to encourage people not to wear masks simply to keep the virus circulating in America so that Joe Biden can't get the virus under control, so that he can't get the economy back, so that with a bad economy and a virus still out of control, Democrats will lose the election coming up in 2022 and will lose the White House in 2024. I see this as just cold political calculus. After all, these same guys were willing to kill 500,000 Americans just to open up the economy in September, October, and November so that they could all try to get elected. That backfired badly on them. The lesson that they learned, the Republicans, was that, hey, if you're the party in power and you've got a virus that's run out of control and an economy that's collapsing, you're going to lose. So now they're looking at this going, the Democrats are in power. And if we can keep this virus going and the economy collapsing, they're going to lose. And we'll get back into power. And won't that be a great thing? But now Tucker Carlson and Fox News have taken this a whole step farther. This is what he had to say, I believe it was last night, might have been the night before, on Fox News. He was talking about people who are wearing masks in public. Now, by the way, the CDC, sometime in the next hour or so, in fact, maybe they're doing it right now, are going to be releasing their new guidelines. And in all probability, they're going to say, if you're fully vaccinated, you probably don't need to wear a mask in public. But, that, which kind of adds to the conversation, I suppose, in a way. But it doesn't add at all to the conversation about what Carlson and Fox are trying to say, because this is where it gets very bizarre. He's speaking of people wearing masks. He says they're the aggressors. See, this is the whole pitch on the right, is you are the poor victims of these terrible people. So Tucker says they're the aggressors. It's our job to brush them back and restore the society we were born in. What is that? Is he still echoing his, black people and Jews are going to replace all the white people and Hispanics are going to replace the white voters in America? Is that? I don't know. But anyhow, so he continues. He says, so the next time you see somebody in a mask on a sidewalk or on a bike path, don't hesitate. Ask politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask? Science shows there's no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable. We should do that, Tucker says, and we should keep doing it. It's repulsive. And then what about when you see children, parents, where their kids are wearing masks? Your response to seeing, now this is where it gets evil. I don't know what word to use beyond that. I think this is where Carlson has stepped beyond the bounds of normal free speech and into basically inciting what could be some real tragedies. I mean, people are protective of their kids. Can you imagine a stranger walking up to you or your kid and telling you to do something that could cause you or your child to get sick and die, and doing it aggressively? There are some people who will respond, shall we say, a little emphatically. Carlson says, your response to seeing children wearing masks when they play should be no different from seeing someone beat a kid in Walmart. Call the police immediately. Contact Child Protective Services. Keep calling until someone arrives. What you're looking at is abuse. It's child abuse, and you're morally obligated to attempt to prevent it. Now, if you think that the millions of people watching and listening to Carlson, and of course his message has been amplified way beyond just his own show with this. This is now the song that the entire right is singing on talk radio, on television, on everything. If you think this isn't going to provoke some actual actions that may end up badly. I got a bridge to sell you in New York. I mean, this isn't some vague thing. He's calling for specific actions that can cause harm, that can cause death and disease. This is like so over the top. Telling people to call the police on somebody. What, my next door neighbor? My next door neighbor, her child is wearing a mask. I'm dialing 911. Right? I mean, talk about the ultimate Karens, right? What would you do if you were walking down the street wearing a mask with your 10-year-old kid or your 15-year-old kid or your 5-year-old kid wearing a mask, and one of Tucker's viewers comes up to you and says, to quote Tucker here, and says, "Would you please take off your mask? Science shows there's no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable." How would you respond? How would you respond when that person puts the phone up to their ear, dials 911, and says, "I'd like to report an emergency. I'd like to report child abuse. Connect me to Child Protective Services. My neighbor, whose name is Joe Blow here, or Jane Doe," because I'm assuming this is one of your neighbors who is watching Tucker. "My neighbor and lives at 123 Main Street is committing child abuse. I want to talk to Child Protective Services right now. Tucker Carlson told me to do this, and I'm following through." How would you respond? What do you do when the police show up? What do you do when the police show up if you're not white? I mean, what is this guy trying to set up here? This is the guy who doesn't want white people to be replaced in America. And we know that, black people and people of color are more likely to die from this, so they're probably more likely to be wearing masks. Is that what's going on here?